Hello everybody, and welcome back to Boss Battles of Wraeclast, the somewhat comprehensive guide to the various bosses in Path of Exile 2. In today's episode, we are taking on Lachlann of Endless Lament, who is the third and final boss in the Cemetery of the Eternals. So, in order to face Lachlann, you have to have defeated both Draven and Asinia, and collected both of their key pieces. And then the quickest way to get to Lachlann is to head back to the waypoint. So instead of taking the portal out of the tomb at the end of either Draven or Asinia, whichever boss you faced last, I throw up a portal to the Clearfell encampment, and then head back through the waypoint to the cemetery, and Lachlann will be stood right next to you. He is the NPC who gives you the quest to face the two bosses in the cemetery to start with. After a bit of quest text, he will then let you open the gate, and then you'll head into the graveyard itself, and he will turn into the boss. Now, without further ado, here is Lachlann of Endless Lament.
Bastards! Use the keys to open the gate. Let's go and free my family. At last, it's open. Praise the first ones. What is this? Graves. Isabel, Torquil, Callum, the family of Count Lachlann of Ogham. My family! This doesn't make any sense! They're dead! Those bastard Eternals! I must make them pay! I must make them suffer!
Okay, so this is Lachlann, and I wanted to let you watch the intro to that fight because it's one of my favourite intros to a boss fight. I do like the way he kind of transforms into this big beast of a boss. Now, one of his main melee attack abilities that he'll use throughout the entire fight is the double slam attack. So first off, he'll slam the ground in front of him, and then he'll slam the ground behind him. He will always shout "My rage burns" whenever he uses his attack, so make sure you are getting away from him whenever you see him about to do it. Now, this attack has a deceptively large area of effect. One thing you'll notice throughout this fight is that my character gets caught by it quite a lot, even though I'm trying to dodge roll away from it. There's a couple of easy ways to avoid it. If you're a ranged character, the best thing to do is to just not let him get in melee range with you, or to back off as soon as he does get close enough and he starts shouting "My rage burns." If you're a melee character, one of the easier ways I've seen of avoiding it is to, when he starts slamming the ground in front, is to dodge roll forward, in front, like from the front of the boss to the back, and then when he slams behind him, you dodge roll backwards to roll back in front of him, so you're kind of avoiding both attacks. That seems to be a more reliable way of doing it, but the best way of doing it is just to try and avoid being in melee range, which I know is difficult for melee characters, but this attack is incredibly dangerous. As you can tell, my character is wearing all armor base equipment and has got most of the defensive and armor passives on the tree for the level that we're at right now, and he's still hitting me for about 40-50% of my health with that slam, so it's a very dangerous attack. As you can see there, he almost killed me with it. Now, throughout the fight, he will be using spells as well. As you can see, he's throwing out these green spirits. They're very similar to the spirits you saw during the Draven and Asinia fight, and these spirits love to leave a chill effect on the ground in the flight path that they have. The main ability he'll use with those will be he'll summon them with his hand and then throw them at you in a straight line. He'll throw them directly at your character, so make sure you're dodge rolling or strafing to avoid that when he throws the spirit. The next one he'll summon the spirits up out of the ground where your character is stood, and then about a second later those spirits will slam back down into where you're stood. So again, make sure you're continually strafing and dodge rolling to avoid being hit by them. These spirits do deal a bit of damage. It's not massively dangerous in terms of the damage you'll take, but the slow effect can allow Lachlann to close that gap between you and smash you with a slam, just like he did to me there yet again. Now, one of the other spirit abilities he'll use is he will summon the spirits from where he stood. He'll kind of stomp on the ground, and then you'll notice this kind of rumbling ground effect that's following your character, and then that spirit will pop up out of the ground after a few seconds and start spinning around in a circle. You can see it right there, and it will also leave quite a large circle of chilled ground effect. Lastly, he does have one more melee slam ability, which is he will slam the ground. I believe he slams it with his foot, so he stomps the ground again, and he will do a line in front of him, very similar to the very first boss that you face on the opening mission or the opening level of the game. He will slam the ground and it will come out in a straight line in front of him, so again, making sure that you're strafing and avoiding that slam attack because it will do quite a lot of damage. And that's pretty much all there is to Lachlann. Now, for melee characters, he can be a bit of a pain in the backside. With that slam attack, he does hit very, very hard. Ranged characters, you won't really struggle with this guy, but one of the main tactics I can give you for dealing with this guy is to use the graves you see in the middle of the arena. So the graves that he walks up to before he transforms into the boss himself, you can use those as kind of almost like a line of sight thing. You can drag him around them, you can kite him around. If you need to put some distance between yourself and him in order to heal up or to wait for a cooldown or something like that, you can always, drag him around those graves. That's probably the easiest thing that I've seen, especially for melee characters. With melee characters in Path of Exile 2, I would also recommend have some spells or some abilities that you can use from a distance. So as you can tell, one of the things I'm doing the most in the previous bosses and this one is I'm doing a shield charge, and then as soon as I hit him from the shield charge, I dodge roll away. I basically just move away from him because he's quite dangerous. Oh, we got ourselves another unique. Sadly, this one is a Rattling Scepter, which is a skeleton offhand or a skeleton scepter, which obviously I won't be using on this character. Now, he will drop his ring, which you'll need to progress the quest, so you'll need to head back to the Clearfell encampment and speak to Una. Sometimes he will drop a flask as well. Next one up will be the Greater Health and Mana Flasks. But yes, that is Lachlann of Endless Lament. He's quite a tough boss fight for melees, but as long as you keep kiting him and avoid that slam, you'll be absolutely fine. So, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.